Dear all, thank you for attending the Roquette IMCD Specialised Nutrition webinar. As part of our continued focus on market trends, particularly that of nutrition, IMCD and Roquette welcomes you to our Specialised Nutrition webinar. As a result of the COVID-19 crisis, consumers are actively working to combine an active lifestyle with pleasure and health included in their food. In this webinar, we will focus on products and solutions that deliver nutrition for specific needs. And importantly, Roquette will share insights, market trends, and showcase some exciting concepts within this growing market category. Today, our presenters from Roquette are Tracy Lim, Technical Developer, Plant Proteins, Eliza Sun, Sales Manager, Greater Asia, P&U Proteins, and Justin Park, Global Technical Developer from the Food Business Unit. Some further points before we start today. Please note there may be a slight delay between slides and voices. That's just due to the platform lag, and this is normal. Please send any questions either via the chat or the Q&A box. And these questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. And importantly, this recording will be made available to all of you, and you will receive a link after the seminar to access that. Thanks, Roquette, and we can start.
Okay. Thanks, Pasquale, and good day, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this session. Today I'm going to run through the market insights and consumer trends before handing over to my colleagues. So without further ado, so when we're talking about specialised nutrition, what do we mean? We're referring to infant nutrition, maternal nutrition, sports nutrition, weight management, senior and clinical nutrition, where each life stage or need has different nutritional requirements, and Roquette is well placed to address these or support these. So what's driving the global trend on plant-based nutrition? You'd seriously have to be a hermit not to be aware of the plant-based revolution that's happening at the moment. It's fair to say that there is a booming interest in plant-based proteins due to a variety of benefits, with health being the biggest driver when considering plant-based alternatives. The second most important reason for buying plant-based products is to bring variety to the diet, which reflects the increasingly mainstream nature of the plant-based market and its relevance as a part of the growing everyday, let me just start that sentence again, and its relevance as a growing part of everyday eating for many. Sustainability is also another key motivator for the uptake of alternative proteins. Both dairy and meat are really in the firing line here, as animal agriculture overall compares unfavourably to plant-based offerings in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, water use and land use. Animal welfare particularly drives younger adult uptake. The fourth reason for opting for plant-based alternatives is better taste, which is interesting because on the flip side, on the right-hand side, you can see that poor taste and texture is the top reason for avoiding plant-based products. The second main barrier to adoption of plant-based options is price or value for money. Across alternative proteins, it remains the case that they are more expensive per kilo or per litre, especially in the key category of meat, both in your pure substitutes and in ready meals. The difference in price is, however, reducing all the time as demand from consumers and development increase, and producers realise the importance of this barrier. Another reason consumers don't buy plant-based alternatives or opt not to is around health concerns and poor nutritional quality. There's also a perception that plant-based alternatives are highly processed and contain artificial ingredients. What we're seeing in Asia Pacific is the growth of health and lifestyle products. In the past 6 years, aside from a blip in 2020, Growth has continued to grow into 2021. Most especially, we think, as a consequence of a greater emphasis on health and well-being as a result of the pandemic. We've also seen a move to personalised nutrition. Consumers want food that suits their personal health, lifestyle and beliefs. The challenge for us as suppliers and manufacturers is how to offer a level of personalisation to consumers in the food and beverages they can choose from. While specialised nutrition holds a smaller share of the ANZ market, when you compare it to larger market segments such as dairy and bakery and snacks, it is second only to early life nutrition in terms of compound annual growth rate, where it has demonstrated a growth rate of 6.9%. Within specialised nutrition, protein and energy bars, energy drinks, and sports nutrition are the highest growth categories, where we've got energy drinks and sports nutrition expected to be the top two categories in terms of value by 2025. When we drill down further into the subcategories of specialised nutrition with plant protein ingredients, looking at launches in Asia Pacific over a 5-year period, oral feeding saw the greatest level of growth, followed by baby formula or milk. Sports bars and sports powders remained consistent over the 5 years, and the top 3 formats by the end of 2020 were oral feeding, sports bars and sports powders. On the right-hand side, you can see an example from Isoware. It's a plant-based meal replacement shake that has a high source of fibre and protein claim. The vegan protein blend comes from a mix of pea, hemp seed and brown rice protein. And the dietary fibre comes from isomalto oligosaccharide. Sorry, that's a mouthful. Of the specialised nutrition launches in 2020, containing plant proteins, soy protein is not surprisingly dominant within the Asia Pacific region when you consider its familiarity in the market, especially within Asia. Pea protein and rice protein are becoming more evident in launches though, with pea protein having a higher growth rate over the 5 years. On the right is a product example from Sports Supplements Direct, and it's a vegan protein powder containing both pea and rice protein to achieve a full amino acid profile. Looking only at sports nutrition launches in 2020, we see again the dominant position of soy protein, but pea protein is also coming up behind soy here with a higher growth rate based on figures from 2016 to 2020. I should have mentioned with the last slide as well, but the size of the bubble represents the number of launches. So the bigger the bubble, the more launches. Looking to the top 10 health claims within specialised nutrition and ASPAC, where the products include plant proteins, we have a high level or source of protein as the top claim. This has grown in the number of launches from 2016 to 2020. And a high source of fibre or source of fibre claim has grown in the same period to take the number 2 spot of the top 10 health claims. We'll show you later in the webinar how Neutralis pea protein and Nutrio's soluble fibre may be able to assist you in taking advantage of these top health claims. On the right, we have an example from Vibe, a plant-based meal replacement shake with a high fibre claim, which also contains pea and rice protein, again for a complete amino acid profile. And I'll leave you with some recent specialised nutrition launches in the ANZ market, where we see consumers aiming for high protein content in their food choices, but looking to avoid sugar and fats. Immunity has been a focus for consumers during the pandemic, and beverages boosting immunity have had a compound annual growth rate of 17%. Our example here is Storia's Mosambi juice, which is a rich source of antioxidants, fibre and minerals. A couple of examples in the weight management subsector showing our Enzo's Active Slim plant-based protein shake, and that uses pea protein isolate, where one serve provides you a third of your daily protein requirements. And the fibre is contributed by inulin in this product. We've got OptiSlim's Opti Biome Meal Replacement Shake, and that's based on whey protein, and it's high in protein and fibre. And at the bottom there, we've got Kate Farms Nutrition Shake, which is a ready-to-drink meal replacement beverage or snack on the go with pea protein. And finally, just having a look at some dough bars under sports nutrition, we've got MyProtein's Double Brownie Protein Bar, which contains many different proteins. You've got milk, hydrolyzed bovine collagen, hydrolyzed wheat protein, pea protein, and whey protein concentrate. This bar offers 14 grams of protein per serve and is high in both protein and fibre. We've got Nuzest's Clean Lean Protein Bar, which has 16% of pea protein isolate, and it's chock full of nuts, fruit, and seeds. And lastly, we've got Custard Protein Bars, which contain dairy proteins, collagen, and soy protein, and that gives you 18 grams of protein per serve. I'll now hand over to Justin to introduce you to Roquette's Nutrio-soluble fibre and Neutralis pea proteins. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliza. Hello, everyone. This is Justin. Finally, it is the time to introduce Nutrio-soluble fibre and Neutralis pea protein for our nutritional goals. Okay. So this is a focus on dairy nutritional goals we should achieve for protein and fiber based on recommendations. The needs of proteins depends on factors like body weight, level of activity, health, gender, and of course age. Our body needs a certain amount of protein to build and to maintain muscle and to feed the metabolism. Generally, adults need around 0.8 gram of protein per kilogram of your body weight, but the specific needs, the requirements increase up to 1 to 2 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. For example, patients need a higher level of consumption for protein to recover compared to sports people or senior people. Our bodily functions also need fibers that play a role in gut health, but much more beyond gut health. In Europe, the recommendations are around 25 grams of fibers per day generally, but US and Australia are slightly different by gender and age. Nutrios is a range of plant-based soluble fiber derived from non-GMO corn. Of course, it is sugar-free. It offers a specific health benefit for specific needs. It has an outstanding clinically proven digestive tolerance. There are no digestive discomfort up to 45 grams per day. Therefore, the full range of Nutrios soluble fibers are certified as low FODMAP by Monash University. Nutrios promote growth of different gut microflora families, as well as blood glucose management with a sugar-free grade. And help decrease the blood sugar impact of the other carbs. Thanks to caloric fermentation, we can get slow energy release as well. A safe and non-viscose soluble fiber, Nutrios, is very easy to use and is a key to innovation that can be used in virtually any applications with a neutral taste and excellent process stability. When we world need a hero in plant-based protein, Neutralis came to rescue to make it indulgent, better for me and the planet. It offers health-conscious, clean nutrition for specific needs, which can be below 3 pillars. The first is easy to use and tasty. Neutralis plant proteins have a multiple particle size and functionalities for a large range of the texture and formats. It is stable to process conditions and optimized vegetable taste identity. The light color in beverage is one of the big advantage. The second is health and nutritious. Premium quality with 85% of Neutralis pea protein is well-balanced amino acid profile and easy to digest. Implemented clinical studies for muscle mass development, satiety and calorie intake, and blood glucose blunting. And the last is clean and sustainable. Yellow pea requires no irrigation and participating to soil enrichment in nitrogen. And Roquette is using water-based and solvent-free process for pea protein production. Pea protein is not major allergen and lactose-free and glucose-free. Of course, it has very low anti-nutritional factor. To offer the best plant-based nutritional solutions, we found some of the different needs by different steps of life. They can be nutritional quality, satiety and weight management, and blood glucose management, and sports nutrition, and then senior nutrition. Corresponding to each consumer needs, Neutralis displayed health benefits that were proven with clinical study each. So the detailed data will be introduced during this webinar. So we prepared, as you see, the 5 different concepts. So let's move on to each concept. Okay. So we can make a concept for a powder mix drink with fiber. So which benefit can be expected by consumers? Like boosting fiber intake, limiting sugar intake for blood sugar level, and for the digestive health. And of course, it should be easy. And for the manufacturer, maybe we need a high soluble, high fiber, and why not? We need a sugar-free. Of course, we need a proven health benefit to claim very specific functionality for your promotion. This is the concept for boosting fiber with powder mix drink, which is using very nice mojito taste. What is the reason to love it? It is easy to prepare it instantly because of the high solubility of the nutrients. It makes close the fiber gap easily with 12.5 grams of fiber per serving. Sugar-free grade of nutrients can help to control blood glucose level as well as support digestive health. Nutrients FM06 is non-GMO, gluten-free, sugar-free, and high fiber from corn. So it is dissolved very fast, but no impact on taste because of neutral taste. High digestive tolerance was proven by clinical studies, and this was support to get low FODMAP certification. Actually, this formulation is very simple, as you see. There is mostly nutrient-soluble fiber inside, and then there is some of flavor, color, and intense sweetener only. So I like to share this clinical study for blood control, blood glucose management. Nutriose is indigestible carbohydrate. It can be formulated as a substitute of other carbs in many common consumer tasty and healthy food, but the glycemic response is not following as normal carbs. As you see this left graph, glucose, which can be from normal digestive carbs, is increasing blood sugar level, but not for the Nutriose consumed group part. And also right side graph is showing blunted blood sugar response. According to our 28 days human study, has demonstrated that the daily Nutriose intake mitigates the blood glucose rise after a beverage rich in simple carbohydrate. This is thanks to its fermentation process in the gut tract. The consumption of Nutriose in addition to a beverage containing sugars is able to positively counteract the impact of the other carbohydrate. Generally, consumers are showing different tolerance level when they are eating high fiber food. Some may find that as a certain fiber ferment in the colon, they may create more discomfort in terms of bloating, flatulence, and diarrhea. Nutriose displays an outstanding digestive tolerance, as you see. Clinical study in healthy adults have reported no symptom of discomfort up to 45 grams per day, which is well beyond level of normal fiber consumption. Nutriose level between 45 grams and 60 grams per day also were very well tolerated. The laxative dose was never reached even in dose of up to 100 grams per day. So these studies are supporting low FODMAP. And then the next concept is for the RTD smoothies with protein. What we need to check? Consumers will be expected fun and tasty. In parallel, they are looking for health benefits like muscle mass management and blood glucose control, and as well as sustainability for the planet. And for the technical part, we need nice solubility and viscosity of the protein, which is very key information. And of course, the stability on pH and temperature for process should be suitable. So let's check this point. This is on-the-go protein smoothie concept. It is developed for active lifestyle. It is a nice real fruit drink to deliver 13 grams of protein per bottle with delicious creamy texture, but no dairy, no soy, and no gluten. Already introduced Nutriose FM06 as a high soluble fiber and non-viscous and very stable fiber, which is a really good point for the RTD type of the protein product. Of course, Nutriose is contributed on health benefits like digestive health and blood glucose management. And again, it is certified as low FODMAP with a high digestive tolerance. And then Neutralis S85 Plus is a premium quality pea protein isolate as non-GMO and not a major allergen. It has high protein contents, high digestibility, and great amino acid profile. Clinical studies are supporting muscle mass recovery, blood glucose management, and short-term satiety as well. high solubility and low viscosity and high resistance to UHT process are also all very nice benefit for the RTD product. And then also especially these kinds of ingredients need high stability for the RTD process. So we can find these kinds of technical data for the next slide. For the RTD product, we implemented the studies to check immersion particle size evolution before and after heat treatment and homogenization for pH 7 and as well as pH 4. As you find this result, there was no big changes of particle size after this treatment for both conditions. Even looks more stable because of thanks to homogenization process. We had applied Neutralis S85 plus for pH 7 because most of specialized nutrition is using very neutral conditions. But we also had applied on pH 4 because it can be used for dairy type like yogurt. So you can apply Neutralis S85 plus for any type of drink to claim protein enrichment as well as to substitute dairy proteins. To incorporate Nutrio's FMO6 into your formulations, actually no need to worry about processing stability. Typically, soluble fiber tend to lose their fiber contents whenever they undergo a change in pH or temperature. Nutrio's FMO6 is extremely stable under changing conditions in terms of pH changes from neutral to acid during the shelf life at low pH and even during sterilization at high temperature. We did some of the studies to check these advantageous properties, studied on Nutrios and some of fractant like FOS or inulin from pH 7 to pH 2. Nutrios was very stable on wider range of pH conditions than the other soluble fibers. And when we keep the condition at a low pH for 3 months, Nutrios was very stable as well. According to this heat treatment test, Nutrios is showing, as you see, it is showing very high stability. One of the nutritional benefit for protein, Neutralis pea protein does not impact on glycemia. As you see, the result of our clinical study here, Neutralis pea protein contains food can be proposed as a part of a healthy diet, and as well as it may contribute to glucose control by mitigating the glucose rise of carbohydrate. So the additional consumption of the Neutralis pea protein is decreasing glycemia of rich in carbohydrate diet. Thanks for your attention. The next concept will be done by Tracy. Thanks again. Hi, Tracy.
Thank you, Justin. Yes. So we need to share this out. All right. So next, I'll be presenting the plant-based protein powder shakes. So basically, we have seen that there's an upward trend in plant protein nutrition, and what consumers are asking for is, really to grow their muscle mass, to get a faster sports recovery, having sustained energy to stay alert. And, for protein shakes, the benefits for consumers is they are really looking out for an easy to prepare beverages. So as we see that, they are also asking for the plant-based options for protein shakes. And what we see that's for plant protein shakes, the main challenges will be really having a good mouthfeel, So how to attain a very smooth mouthfeel and good powder dispersibility in water? The powder particle size of the protein is a very important criteria to look out for. And on top of that, with plant proteins, it's not all plant proteins have the equal nutritional value in that sense that, with pea proteins, it has actually excellent high quality plant proteins with a good pediatric scoring and also protein digestibility. So next we will move into the roquette concept for this plant power nutrition. So basically, reasons to love for this plant powers powder shakes is actually delivering 28 grams of protein per serving. It's easy to prepare. It's great tasting. It's fully 100% plant-based. It's actually a combination blend of two types of plant proteins, pea and rice protein. Basically, it's having this protein complementary effects to attain a well-balanced amino acids profile. As we all know that with cereals proteins or with rice protein, the limiting amino acids will be more of the lysine. And pea protein actually has very high level of lysines that able to give that, a higher amino acid scoring. But we do know that for pea proteins, the limiting amino acids is actually methionine and cysteine, and that's actually being complemented with the blend of rice protein. So overall, this plant power shakes actually helps to contribute to the consumer needs for muscle growth and recovery. So basically, it's develop muscles, helps you feel full and recover your best. So apart from the high protein content at 28 grams per serving, this concept has also fortified with neutrals, FMO6, the soluble fibers that Justin has gave quite a very nice explanations about the ingredients, technical functionalities, and the health benefits of neutral soluble fibers. But basically, this is really a fast dissolution, and it gives the slow energy release for the whole body metabolism. And on top of that is low FODMAP certified by Monash University. So it's really excellent options for people that have IBS syndromes. So with this concepts it actually uses Neutralis S85 plus grade. So with this pea proteins is actually, as mentioned earlier, is a very high quality plant proteins, giving a high digestibility at 96%, high pediatric score with 92, and it actually has a good source of arginine, BCAA, and glutamic acids coming from the pea protein itself. That's it helps to really build up the muscles for the sports recovery, especially with BCAA. We know that is an important amino acids that is really for the muscle mass protein synthesis. So with the complementary protein blend of pea and rice, it gives very good amino acid scoring. And just to let you know that with Neutralis S85 plus, is also having excellent solubility. Not to forget that pea protein is not a major allergen and non-GMO. So let's look at the optimal amino acids profiles that we are creating for these concepts using the blends of rice protein and pea protein. As mentioned earlier, these concepts, if we look at an inclusion of, for example, 70:30 ratio of the protein blend, 70% of the pea proteins will actually help to, offset the low deficiency of rice protein in the lysine amino acid profile, and that's give a good high to attain like 100% amino acid scoring, and this gives the complementary effect. So next, we will look at the health benefits in terms of targeted muscle mass growth. In this clinical studies, it was actually done in over 12 weeks course of clinical studies with a resistance training program. So the respondents are actually, the subjects are actually given 50 grams dose of Neutralis pea protein per day versus whey protein at 50 grams as well as placebo. And then we measure the muscle mass of the biceps and to see the thickness evolution. As you can see on the top dark green here, that is the Neutralis pea protein. And we can see that it's actually, the studies have shown positive effects on the muscle mass growth. And we don't actually see a significant difference between the whey groups versus rest subjects that consume Neutralis pea protein at 50 grams per day. So in conclusions, that Neutralis pea proteins does have, giving positive effect in muscle mass growth. So next, we look at the technical benefits. As mentioned earlier, powder dispersibility is very important for protein shakes. And for S85 plus grades, it's actually having fine powder particle size hovering less than 150 micrometer, and that really helps in the solubility and dispersibility in water. And if we look at the right-hand side, on the top right, Neutralis S85 plus, in terms of the wettability evaluations, the powder actually is able to wet within the 3 minutes, fully wet, compared to the milk protein concentrates. So next, when we look at protein bar, what consumers are looking out for protein bar, besides wanting an indulgent snack, consumers are also shouting out that they want it to be good for themselves and for the planet. And sustainability is actually on the rising spotlight in consumers' mindset. And what they feel that, something that is good for themselves, they feel that health also includes having a healthy planet in that sense. So not only for their own goodness, but the overall environment. And what they are looking out for protein dough bar is actually to increase their protein intake and also to give them satiety. So the main challenges that we find for protein dough bar is really having a good texture and also to maintain the textures over the shelf life, besides, giving this high nutritional quality. And the components or the factors that actually affect the dough bar hardness over time is really the water activities of the ingredients and, within the ingredients matrix, how is the hydrations, involved in it. Sorry. So with this, Roquette present the Plant Powers Protein Dough Bar. So the reasons to love it is really no added sugar to this concept. It's having a soft textures and no grittiness. So it aims to deliver at least like a 20 grams protein per serving of 80 gram bar. And it's able to help you feel full longer and to support muscle mass developments and sports recovery. So specifically for this concept, to achieve the optimal dough bar textures at the point of consumptions as well as over the shelf life, maintaining a right softness over the shelf life, we actually use a blend of 3 different types of Neutralis pea proteins, which is B85F, and insoluble grades that actually has a low water holding capacity, so low water competitions within the ingredients matrix. And we also use S85 plus that is having excellent solubility and low viscosity that contributes to the softness of the bar, as well as S85XF is a very extra fine particle size pea protein isolate. So with this blends of 3 different types of pea proteins, we are able to obtain a very nice dough bar textures as well as during the shelf life. So next, look at the satiety clinical studies. So basically for this clinical studies is we subject 36 volunteers in a day studies to present them with 15 grams or 30 grams of Neutralis pea protein versus whey and placebo. And we sort of give them, a questionnaire to answer how full do they feel. And based on the subject's response, we can actually see the darker purple line on the top, which is this 30 grams of Neutralis actually gives higher fullness compared to 15 grams of Neutralis pea protein. But you can see it's actually at the end of almost like 3 hours, respondents are still feeling the fullness when you compare with 30 grams of Neutralis and with the whey groups. So the next steps is we actually subject the volunteers to an ad lieutenant's meals that, depending on their fullness, food are available, and we actually sort of like measure their energy intakes. And from these studies, we actually have seen a significant decrease in the calorie intakes among the 3 groups, as well as, for 15 grams of Neutralis and 30 grams of Neutralis groups. So we do see positive effect on Neutralis pea protein on short-term satiety. So next, we look at the technical benefits, as mentioned earlier, on the concerns of the dough bar textures over time. And what is most important is really targeting low water activities at time 0. We need to target at least below 0.6 so that it actually helps to inhibit the microbial growth during shelf life. And the blends of the 3 different types of pea protein isolates helps to give you the optimized bar textures, because it actually helps to limit the competition for waters when you have a matrix with other syrups, ingredients of humectants, of carbohydrates. So the last concepts I'll be presenting will be the high protein, high fibers apple compote. So I guess this concept is mainly we are targeting at senior nutrition, because this is some things that we want to give a different variety options for the seniors to enjoy the products that is protein enriched and fiber enriched. And basically, it's really important for people to start looking at their protein intakes, because we know that sarcopenia actually kicks in when you are in your 30s or 40s. People start to lose a little bit of muscle mass, and it really picks up when you are in your 60s, and you tend to lose more than like 10% of your muscle mass while you age. So it's really important to really prevent the muscle wasting so that you can enjoy a good quality of life. And what seniors nutrition consumers, if we are looking at, they are looking for easy to eat textures. They are looking out for feeling good inside out, high fiber content, able to, maintain their muscle mass. And, they are also shouting out for 100% plant-based options. And the challenges that we feel that for a low pH dessert, for example, in an apple compote, would be really the solubility, as well as the low viscosity. That is some things that we need to address. And having a good nutritional plant protein to able to give a very complete amino acid profiles for the health benefits. So for these concepts of high protein, high fibers apple compotes, the reason to love is really, a nice and smooth textures. It also has a blend of plant proteins in these concepts that we actually blend of pea proteins with wheat protein. And that is really more towards the protein complementary effects to give a very complete amino acid profile. And on top of that, there is fibers enriched to it with our nutrient-soluble fiber, FMO6, and that's really benefits on the gut health, as well as, the FMO6, as Justin earlier presented, is also good for, resistance to the process, such as low pH, as well as heat treatments. So with Nutrios FMO6, I would say it has good shelf life and process stability. It's neutral in taste, non-thickening, and not to forget that it's really low FODMAP certified. So with this concept, we actually uses Neutralis S85 Plus, and that is what we have summarized earlier is really Neutralis pea protein. It comes from a non-GMO, 100% sustainable, it's actually 100% non-GMO, sustainable yellow pea protein. So, and it's really a high quality pea proteins that, able to give you a well-balanced amino acids score on its own. But because this concepts we want to achieve a complete amino acid profile, we have it paired up with the wheat protein. So not to forget, the pairing of this is also able to give a very fast digestion protein profile. That's, we have a fast release of amino acids into the bloodstreams so that, you get the best benefit out within a short time frame. And with this S85 Plus is also having excellent solubility even at acidic condition. So we will look in the next slides in terms of the technical functionality. On top of that, just to re-emphasize, Neutralis pea protein is not a major allergen, non-GMO. We actually have it, our products being verified by the non-GMO projects body in the US. So in terms of looking at the nutritional benefits of having a complete amino acid profile, so it's the same case scenarios that wheat protein itself is also low in lysine, whereas if you Neutralis W, this is the hydrolyzed wheat proteins that we use, is actually low in lysine but high in methionine and cysteine. But if you look at Neutralis S85 Plus in the next columns, it's super high in lysine amino acids. It's just fairly low in the methionine and cysteine as compared to wheat protein. It's not too bad, but just to highlight, even it has limiting amino acid in methionine and cysteine for Neutralis pea protein at 21. But if you were to compare with the FAO protein requirements for adult that is only needing 22 grams per day, we are actually able to achieve 95% of the methionine cysteine amino acid solely coming from pea protein. It's just that we are targeting at 100% or over 100% of amino acid scoring, and that's where the combinations of the wheat protein and pea proteins comes into the picture to achieve the 101.1 amino acid score. So the next, we look at the technical benefits of, in this concept of apple compote that is having a low pH, and it's very important to be, the proteins is able to be solubilized at lower pH. If we look at the blue line, this is the hydrolyzed wheat protein, Neutralis W, and we have our purple line that is S85 Plus. And if you look at typically the apple low acid dessert we range between 3.1 to 4. So if you look at the pH at 4, it actually has the really excellent solubility at low pH. And in terms of viscosity, S85 Plus range and Neutralis W wheat proteins gives low viscosity even when you actually dose it with a higher protein content. So next, I will move to the conclusion. So I'll have to quickly run through a bit. As you have seen, we have presented 5 concepts today within the Roquette teams with the support of IMCD. So the first concept presented by Justin is the Fiber Boost Concepts Virgin Mojito Powder Mixed Drink that is really fortified with Nutrients O6, the soluble fibers that giving you the health benefits as well as fiber enrichments. And with nutrient-soluble fibers is really high digestive tolerance, up to 45 grams per day. You don't really feel any digestive discomfort. And the next concept is the Plant Power Mango Smoothies that is fortified with Nutrients O6 for the health benefits, fiber enrichment, high digestive tolerance, and it's also good to take note of the process stability at low pH and heat stability as well for the soluble fiber range. And then we have it with Neutralis S85 Plus for the protein enrichment, excellent solubility at low viscosity at low pH, and it's also process stable. Then the third concept that we have presented is the plant power protein shakes. This really means to give you the high protein boost that helps you to meet your needs of increasing your muscle mass, develop muscles, helps you to feel full and recover your best. And on top of that, not to really highlight, it has excellent solubility for the powder mix dispersion. And the fourth concept is the plant power protein dough bar. It's using our S85 Plus with blends of B85. And I miss out here, there's also another grade of S85F. So there's actually 3 different types of protein, of pea protein in this dough bar concepts to give you an optimized dough bar texture. The last concept, specifically, we want to give a brand new protein-enriched options and fiber-enriched options for the seniors, including with the ingredients of Nutrios O6 soluble fibers and Neutralis S85 Plus. So just to end off with the benefits of Nutrios O6 soluble fibers, not only on the sugar reductions on the technical functionality, we also look beyond the fiber enrichments and also the health benefits. For example, what Justin has mentioned in terms of the blood glucose management. And we also have the gut health benefits that give you a positive health and wellness experience and feeling. And I think it's also good to recognize that, yes, not sure if you are aware, 70 to 80% of your immune cells are actually located in your gut. So if you have a healthy gut, you actually are on the way to, really having a healthy, health status in that sense. So there's always a link between the gut microbiota to your health. And next will be a range of Neutralis pea protein range within Roquette portfolio that we can offer, coming depending on your needs, depending on the applications from powder shakes to RTDs, high protein RTDs to acidic protein enriched beverages or even desserts or energy gel, protein bar, and also extruded crisps and snacks. So we have a range from soluble range to baking range to functional pea protein range, as well as S85 Plus that we have presented today in this webinars, the excellent solubility as well as low viscosity at high protein level. And just to highlight, within Roquette, we also have our Neutralis textured pea range, for example, in TP70G. This is also we have explored in our protein bar that gives you a different sensorial experience that you would expect. So reach out to us if you are interested, with the protein bar that, in combinations with the protein isolate and texturized pea protein. So to end off, to summarize the benefits of Neutralis pea proteins being excellent quality plant protein source, it also has health benefits that we are able to back by science with clinical studies on satiety and weight management, blood glucose management, and for sports nutrition on the muscle mass developments and also sports recovery. And lastly, what I have presented on the apple compote concepts that is for the senior nutrition is actually well accepted. All right, that ends it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Justin, Tracy, and Eliza for the fantastic presentation. We have some. We'll now finish the session with a Q&A session. There's some questions that have come in, so I'll moderate those and I'll allow the panel to answer those. The first question is about the dough bar concept presented. What is the shelf life of the dough bar? Is it a shelf-stable concept or chilled? And what would give a better shelf life?
Yep. So the dough bar concepts, we are expecting at least a 12-month shelf life concepts. And that is really depending on the water activities of the dough bar in order to have a longer shelf life, as mentioned, because you need to target less than 0.6 in order to inhibit the microbial growth. Yeah.
And certainly IMCD and Roquette are happy to help with formulation advice on that particular concept. So please feel free to reach out to your appropriate account manager on that one. There was another question that Justin has answered, but just to reiterate, the question was, is pea protein F85F different to the three pea proteins mentioned? And Justin did reply that F85F is a functional grade for emulsion and gelling. S85 plus is a high soluble grade, whilst B85F is low soluble. There's a question about, are these ingredients TGA approved? I think, Eliza, we need to check on that. We probably, unless you have an answer there.
No, I don't have an answer for you offhand, sorry. We'll just check internally on that one. Predominantly, these ingredients are going into food and beverage applications, though. Yeah, but we'll check for you.
That's great. Okay, another question here. I'll direct this one to Tracy. Taste remains a challenge for pea protein in general. How does Roquette deal with this issue?
It's a very good question. I think everyone finds taste is very challenging, specifically for plant proteins. But I guess we really need to recognize that each individual plant protein has its own taste identity. And, with pea protein, it also has its own clean pea notes, taste to it. But for Roquettes, we are constantly, innovating and optimizing in our taste improvement journey. So even earlier this year, Roquette has invested in process optimizations in our France pea processing facilities in order to make the pea notes taste much more lactose, reduce vegetable notes in the pea protein isolates. And it's also good to note that, there's always evolutions and improvements over the years. And even with soy proteins, we know that back in decades, 10 years ago or more, people are not receptive to soy protein because of very strong beanie notes to it. But, with the process improvements over the years, we are able to achieve that. And we do see, with pea proteins, definitely will be able to achieve that as well. And as well as, together with IMCD, you are also expertise with the flavors, sort of modulations with your principles. Then it's great partners to work with.
Thank you, Tracy. I have a question here for Eliza. I'll direct it to Eliza. Do you have organic grades of pea protein available?
Not as yet. However, we're working on producing organic grades out of our new plant in Canada. But this isn't expected until the second half of this year. We have secured organic yellow peas in preparation for this. And our certifiers are certified in or recognized in Canada, US, and Europe. Watch the space. Certainly stay in touch with us and with IMCD in terms of, when we're ready to bring it to market here. Thank you.
Thanks, Eliza. And for Justin, can you discuss the calorific or elaborate further on the calorific value of the Nutrio's products, namely Nutrio's 6 and Nutrio's 10?
Yeah. So as Pascal explained, there is two different grades, which is 06 and 10. So what is different? Because they are different fiber inside. So 06 is contained 85% of fiber inside, and then Nutrio's 10 has only 70%. So 06 grade is showing around 2 kilocalorie per gram, but Nutrios 10 is making 2.4 kilocalorie per gram because they have different fiber contents inside.
Thank you, Justin. A question for the panel. Maybe Eliza, considering she's in the alternative or the protein business unit. Do you have any other soluble alternate plant proteins? I see that you offer a fava bean protein, but it looks like that product is only in a textured format at this time.
Yep, that's true. Thanks for the question, Madison. So we don't currently have anything outside of, for the food and beverage market, we don't have anything outside of Neutralis pea proteins and Neutralis wheat proteins. However, as a business, Roquette is continuing to evaluate and bring on alternative origin plant proteins. We've committed to, looking at other sources. I think, every 5 years we're looking at launching something new. But there's nothing that we can share with you as yet, but please be rest assured that we're certainly investigating quite closely at the moment, and we'll continue to do so into the future.
Thanks, Eliza. And I think one more question and then we'll wrap it up. And this is for Tracy can you elaborate a little bit more about the health benefits of particularly Neutralis?
The health benefits of Neutralis. So basically, as in this whole webinars that we have presented, is really to highlight that Neutralis pea proteins is sustainable, coming from the yellow peas, that is having high digestibility at 96%. We do have studies to back that up. And also with the protein digestibly corrected amino acid scoring on its own is hovering between 92 to 93, depending on the grade. And it's really, I would say that it's not a major allergen, most importantly. And with Neutralis, it's coming from yellow pea, so totally fits into the sustainability storytelling that consumers are really looking out for, not only for their own health benefits, they're also looking at the environmental health concern.
Thank you, Tracy. And there's one more which I'll address. Taran's asked about the indication cost for the pea proteins. I think it depends on we talked about a variety of different grades, and I'm happy to take that as a separate discussion, depending on the grade that's needed. So that's fine. So thank you again for all the attendees, and I hope that this webinar was useful and stimulated some thinking in the specialized nutrition space. A big thank you to the Roquette team, Justin Park, Eliza Sun, and Tracy Lim, and of course Emma Woods, who's behind in the background from IMCD, who put this all together. So thanks again, everyone, and a reminder that a link to this recording will be sent. So please download that, re-look at it, and if you have any questions, please reach out to the appropriate IMCD account manager, and we'll be happy to take it forward with you. Thanks again, and I wish everyone a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.